Hello and welcome back to Guided Souls. I'm so excited to be back here for another week with everyone. My name's Katie. You may also know me as Guided Soul Katie on TikTok and YouTube. And if you are listening and you prefer to watch, you can go ahead and watch this on YouTube, or I think you can also watch it on Spotify. So, yeah, just happy to be back with you guys. And as you may remember from last week, this is kind of a turning point for the podcast in terms of the format and what to expect moving forward. So it's going to be a lot more solo episodes with some guests sprinkled here and there, but I'm really, really excited for the direction that this is going in. And I've put a lot of thought into it, and I know that it's only going to continue to grow from here. So when I sat down and really thought about, okay, what do I want this podcast to be? Who do I want this podcast to help? It really came down to the fact that I'm not that special. I say that because I think one of the things that draws people to me and to my content and to this podcast, hopefully, is my relatability. There are things that I go through, struggles that I face, things that I overcome that I feel like are very relatable to other people. And I am not saying that I have everything all figured out. You can go listen to previous podcast episodes as evidence of that. But I feel like I'm finally at a spot where I'm in calmer waters. For the past week, I've just been waking up filled with so much gratitude for my life, for who I am, for the things that I have, for the things that I'm doing. And I just sort of thought to myself, like, how did I get here? In the past year, a year ago, my life looks so different. And how can I help other people replicate this process that I went through if they want to? I am able to wake up every day in a home that I love, next to someone I love, in a town that I love, doing work that I love, with family that I love, with friends that I love. Like, I don't have it all figured out for sure, but I do have some things figured out if I wake up every day feeling that way. And I also know that I woke up every day just a year ago very much not feeling that way. And it's such a beautiful feeling. I actually realized I think gratitude is my favorite emotion that I can feel, even beyond happiness, and maybe feeling love towards someone is like right up there. But in terms of things that I just feel, gratitude and having gratitude for what I have in my current life as it stands is my favorite emotion. Yes, you can cultivate gratitude at any point in your life, but there's also steps that you can take to make your life look more like a life that you would be grateful for. So basically, I just wanted to take a look back at how I got here and to help replicate this process for anyone who is interested in having a life where they feel fulfilled, where they feel like they're able to show up as their authentic selves, where they, aren't stressed out all day, every day, where they have meaningful relationships. So as of right now, that's the direction that I see this podcast going, is different topics that have helped me get to where I am today. There's definitely going to be spirituality sprinkled through all of it. So if you've really enjoyed that aspect of this podcast, you're in luck because we are continuing down that road. But I also think that it's going to be very much grounded in real things that I go through, real experiences that I have, and hopefully very real, tangible applications that you can apply to your life as well if you want to. And I'll be totally honest, this is an uncomfortable position for me to step into because it naturally means that I have to acknowledge that I have something figured out and that I'm sharing that to try and help people. And imposter syndrome just comes in so strong when I think those types of things. Like, who am I to say this is what people should do? And I'm honestly not saying that this is what you should do. You can take it or leave it. I'm just saying this is what has worked for me. obviously I've figured something out in the past year if I'm able to wake up in this state most days. And I'm just going to share those experiences with you and give you some, tips and advice on how to get there as well, if that's something that you're interested in. So different topics that you can look forward to in the future are, how to cultivate more gratitude in your life, how to receive messages from your spirit guides, how to connect with your past loved ones, how to find your soul purpose and what navigating that looks like. So again, it's very much still rooted in spirituality, but I'm hoping that these can be very tangible, real, relatable things that I have gone through that you can also apply to your life. And we just had the last full moon of the zodiac calendar last Saturday, February 24th. And I guess maybe other people have experienced this too. I came into 2024 just being like, this is my year. Everything's going to fall into place. And I had so much hope. And then the first month, January, was just a train wreck. It wasn't, terrible, but it was hard. I felt lost. I felt more lost than ever. And it wasn't until February started to roll around, and then mid-February and now late February, that things really started to click into place. And so I realized, oh, my life is going in cycles of the zodiac calendar, not the traditional calendar that we have, which makes so much sense because in March of 2023 was when everything started to change in my life. And so it only makes sense that I would be closing out this cycle as we move into this new zodiac calendar year. So I wanted to take a look back at the past zodiac year and really highlight the 3 lessons that I feel like have gotten me to where I am today, and that are really the backbone of how I've been able to get to this spot. So the first of those 3 lessons, which seems very simple. That's also the beauty of these 3 lessons. Like, they seem so simple, but there's so much behind them. And the first one is, life is too short to live someone else's dream. And that may seem obvious to you, but I was totally living someone else's dream. I was living what I thought I wanted, but really I was just putting society's views of what was good onto myself and telling myself that that's what I wanted. And it really made me think of this quote that I used to see almost every day, but multiple times a week at my dance studio. When I was in college, I taught there, and there was this poster in the women's restroom, and it said, "If you don't build your dream, someone will hire you to help build theirs." And it's by Tony Gaskins. And at the time, I thought to myself, well, that's a stupid quote because, it's teaching kids to have this dream where they're going to build their dreams and they're able to do it all, when in reality, like 95% of the dancers there will probably grow up to be hired by a company and work a 9 to 5 job and help build someone else's dream. Like, that's just the reality of the world. And so I thought, this really isn't setting kids up for success. Maybe there's something in between this quote and reality, but I don't buy into this quote, basically. And I've also had this fear since I was in high school, really, that I would not have the ability to hold down a full-time job. I feel like I've always been the type of person that had anxiety about commitments and about knowing that I have to be somewhere every day and knowing that people are counting on me. And it just seemed like I wasn't cut out for the life of holding down a full-time job. And that worried me so much. And I quit a lot of jobs like shortly after starting. Granted, they were not as serious as some other jobs that you might think of. Like, I worked at Abercrombie, PetSmart, and those were ones that I just quit after. Oh, I worked at a school too as a paraprofessional, and those lasted about 2 months, maybe. And then I left. And so I just had this like deep rooted fear that I would never be successful, that I would never be able to hold down a full time job. And because of that, I went into like overdrive mode to try and prove myself wrong, to try and prove I was capable of holding down a full time job, and I was the type of person that could do that. So I thought to myself, well, I'm not just going to hold down any full time job. I'm going to hold down a full time job with a high paying salary, at a business type company, and just really going against anything that I had ever told myself I wanted. Like my undergrad degree was in social work. I've always wanted to help people. Before that, I wanted to be a professional dancer. Before that, I wanted to be an actress. Like I've just had these big dreams and wanted to change the world. And then all of a sudden, I just kind of flushed it down the toilet to prove to myself that I was someone that could make it in the business world. So I went and got my MBA, and I'm going to be honest, I love it when people underestimate me. Like, I love it because it means that I can kind of work silently in the background and then come forward and succeed, and they won't even see me coming. So, there was someone in the program in my MBA program, who I felt like was really underestimating me. They were giving me a hard time for not having my summer internship all figured out. And so in my head, I was like, okay, I'm going to go out and I'm going to get the most prestigious internship I can. And I'm not going to say anything about it. And then, I'm going to come out of nowhere. And I did. And I was so proud of myself. And I was the only person in our program to get an internship at this company that's well known in our area. And now looking back on it, I'm like, but was that my dream? Or was I just trying to prove someone else wrong and wanted to prove that I could fulfill that dream? And I just took it on as my own. And so I think it's okay, honestly, to want to prove people wrong, to want to be successful, to want to be seen in a light where people see you as successful. But the danger there is taking on someone else's definition of success and the definition of their dream and what they find as successful. And that's exactly what I was doing. Whether it was to prove it to myself, to prove it to other people, I just was like, I am forcing myself into this, very square peg, round hole type of situation because I can prove to people that I am able to do this. And honestly, I can prove it to myself. And after I graduated from that program, I worked at a company that helped private equity firms basically make more money, is what we did. So honestly, I really enjoyed the company. I had a lot of fun there. I made good friends. I had some really great managers. I felt like I grew a lot, learned a lot. But what's interesting is the company had very strong politics. And I saw that. And I was like, oh, I know how to get ahead at this company. And it's to play their game, to play into the politics. And so I did. And I wasn't being deceitful, but I was being the type of person that I knew that they wanted to see at their company and the type of person that they would promote. And so I got promoted 6 times in 3 years. So I never had one position for like more than 6 months. And I just learned how to play the game. I learned how to mold myself into the type of person that they wanted to promote. And I ended up being in a role at the end of it, after being promoted so many times, that I hated. I was the director of customer success, and I was very client facing, and I was just working with these private equity firms all the time who, honestly, I'm sure there's some nice people in private equity. I didn't meet many of them. These people were mostly assholes, if I'm being totally honest. So it was really stressful. And I ended up leaving that company and going to a different one. And, it's just when I look back at it, I'm so painfully aware that I was trying to live someone else's dream and convince myself that it was my dream. And I really had this fear that I was going to wake up when I was 55, 60 years old and wonder where my life went. What did I do with my life? And because my dad had younger onset Alzheimer's, there is a higher probability that I will have that as well. And so I'm not even guaranteed any sort of retirement. He started showing signs, I think, in his late 50s. He was diagnosed in his early 60s. So there was a possibility that I would just live my whole life trying to fit myself into someone else's dream, only to find at age like 60 that not only was I not going to be able to retire, but then I'm going to like lose my mind in the process of it. And I'm not saying that is going to happen, but I'm aware that it's a possibility, and it makes me have a different sense of time than I think a lot of people have. I have this sense that time is very precious, and that has only heightened since I've done my medium work, because I hear from a lot of people who have loved ones and their life was cut too short. It's just like, we don't have enough time to be wasting building someone else's dream. And I'm not saying that everyone has to be an entrepreneur. I'm not saying that everyone has to, go out and do something life-changing, but like, make sure that what you're doing is your dream. If you want to be an accountant, if that lights you up, that's amazing. If you want to be a lawyer, that's amazing. But if you are helping someone in private equity make more money, and instead of that fulfilling your soul, it just totally drains you, maybe think about what else there is you could do. And I think another lesson that's hard with this is you have to figure out what your dream is. And I didn't know that. And I didn't know what was my dream and what someone else's was. And I didn't know until I was out of that environment and looking back to really see, oh my gosh, that was not who I am at all. And it's also part of the reason why I feel like some people are going to be so shocked when they hear that this is the type of stuff that I'm doing, because it's so different than the version of me that they knew. But the version of me that they knew was not me at all. And so in the past year, I realized that it was my dream to move to this town that I now live in. It was my dream to have friends where I can feel like I'm 100% myself around them and they love and accept me for who I am. It's my dream to have a beautiful relationship and marriage with my husband. It's my dream to wake up every day and love what I'm doing and not feel stressed out. And it took a while for all of those things to fall into place. I'm not saying that that's something that happens overnight, but I'm so grateful to myself that I woke up and realized that I was living someone else's dream. And I continued to take action to make sure that I was living mine. And I'm not done. I'm still on my way to that. But when I wake up in the morning and I'm so excited to live my life, that makes me think, okay, I'm at least on my way to living my dream. The second really big lesson that I've learned in the past year, and I love this one, is you don't owe anyone anything. And I'm going to start it with a different quote. And I actually first heard this on Jay Shetty's podcast, but it's by Charles Cooley. And the quote is, "I'm not what I think I am. I am not what you think I am. I am what I think you think I am." I'm going to say that one more time. I am not what I think I am. I am not what you think I am. I am what I think you think I am. And the amount of things that I have done in my life based off of what I think other people will think about me and not actually what I know that they think about me is insane. We let the fear of what other people think about us hold us back from doing so many things. And we don't even know that that's what they think. We are just operating our life based on what we think they think about us. And some people might genuinely have a negative opinion about you. You might be right about some people's opinions about you. But what I also find baffling is that we find ourselves caring about people's opinions who we don't even like. How insane is that? that there's someone out right there, right now. I want you to think of someone that you don't like, and then think of something that you may be afraid to do because they may judge you for it. Why do you care about their opinion? Why do I care about their opinion? This is something that I'm still working on, but as I was really trying to lean into this, my abilities as a medium and this spiritual journey, I just kept thinking, oh, what if the people at my last job find out and they're just like, wow, I can't believe we had hired this crazy person and now look at what she's doing. I cannot stand the people at my last company. They were so rude. They were so disrespectful. They honestly treated me like trash. So why the heck would I live my life out of fear of what they think about me or what they will think about me if this ever even crosses their desk? It might not. But if it does, and they think I'm weird or crazy or they talk about me behind my back, why would I care about that? And the other beautiful thing about what other people think about you is you're probably never going to know. Like the people that tell you what they think about you are mostly going to be people that like you. It's mostly going to be people that celebrate you. Will you get the random one-off person who tells you to your face, "Oh, I don't like what you're doing. Oh, I think this thing about you." Sure. But then go back to my other point. You probably didn't like them anyways, so why do you care about their opinion? But most people who disagree with what you're doing, who don't like what you're doing, who are judging you for your choices, who are judging you for who you are, will never say that to you. They will never say that to your face. The odds, so just take my last company, for example. If what I'm doing, if this ever crosses their consciousness, if they ever find out about this, the odds that they will reach out to me and tell me that and tell me something negative is like next to zero. Maybe one of them would reach out and be like, wow, I think it's really cool what you're doing. I think that's really admirable. But chances are I just wouldn't hear from any of them. And that's amazing. And you can't control whether people are talking about you at a party, whether they're sending text messages back and forth, whether they're screenshotting what you're doing or, making fun of you, whatever. You can't control that. But you also don't know that it's happening. You're probably making up a lot of it in your head. And even if you're not, you can live in ignorant bliss because those people are probably never going to tell you that to your face. So once I kind of let go of why would I care about someone's opinion when I don't even like them, that was really freeing to me. And then on the flip side of that, I also have really struggled to, I don't want to let people down. I don't want to disappoint people. And I think that might be a lot of reasons why someone stays in a job longer than they want to or in a relationship longer than they want to, because they don't want to put the other person or the company or whoever it may be in a tricky spot. But they are strong. They will be fine. They will get over it. But you only have one lifetime. And I really struggled with whether I should quit my last job or not when they were treating me so terribly, because I'd only been there for, I think, 9 months maybe. And I was like, this is going to look terrible on my resume. They are going to be so upset that they ever hired me. They're going to be left high and dry without someone to fill this position. Guess what? They could have avoided me leaving by treating me better. They chose not to do that. I made a decision for myself and they're fine. Like the company is still afloat. The company didn't go underwater because I left. I've had relationships in the past that I've ended and I felt so terribly because no one wants to hurt someone. And that's very real. But the honest truth is I was doing them a favor because we weren't a compatible match. And I'm positive they got over it. I'm positive they've moved on. I have evidence that they've moved on, which is incredible. But it's like in that moment, we just don't want to let people down and we feel like we owe people so much. And I recently made a video on TikTok about a tattoo that I got. It ended up getting almost 1 million views because I think it was very relatable. I had this experience where I got talked into a tattoo that I didn't want. He also changed the tattoo while he was tattooing me. And something in my gut, even before we started, told me to leave. But I didn't want to be rude. I didn't want to have him high and dry when he was planning on having this appointment. And now he wasn't able to fill it at the last minute because I decided to go. Cut to 5 years later, I'm still trying to get the thing removed off of my arm. And he treated me terribly. And I was so worried about coming off as rude to him. And I think it also is really just having these realizations have had me help me step into what you may have heard as your villain era. And honestly, I think this came up for the first time in, I don't know, maybe 2021 or something like that. I wasn't on TikTok, so I missed it the first time around. I had never heard of a villain era. And it wasn't until this past couple months that it actually kind of came up in my own TikTok feed. And I was like, that's an interesting term. Like, I don't really know what that means. It sounds like it's kind of a bad thing. And I, did some Googling, some research, and really what it boils down to is just the acceptance and the willingness to be the villain in someone else's story. And we try, I think, especially if you're a woman, we try so hard to get people to like us, to be polite, to have people think that we're kind, to not make waves, to not upset people. And in the end, we end up hurting ourselves. And if we were just to say, no, this is my boundary. No, I'm walking away. No, you had your chance. This is not on me. Or maybe this is on me. Maybe I just need something different and you're going to be fine. If we just accepted that that person might see us as a villain in their story, and that's okay, we would be able to leave things that no longer serve us so much more quickly. We would be happier. We would be healthier. We would be more true to who we are. And just stepping into that mentality has been so freeing for me. And one of the things that I really struggled with as I first started gaining momentum and a following on TikTok was, oh, people from my past are going to see this and they're going to think, oh, that's not the real Katie. I know the real Katie. She's different than that. And like, I have grown so much from my past. And so they would be right that it's not the same Katie that they saw, but they're not in my life anymore for a reason. And it's okay if they see me as the villain. It's okay if they see the work that I've done, the work that I'm doing, and they don't buy it. It's okay. It's okay to let friends fall out of your life. It's okay to let previous employers think something about you that you know isn't true. You know it's not true. That's what matters. What matters is your opinion of yourself. And it's really damaging to allow other people's opinions of you or just what you think they think about you impact how you actually feel about yourself. And the last thing that I learned from this lesson before I go on to the third one is allow people to surprise you. You don't owe anyone anything. And if you just put yourself out there, if you just say, this is what I need, this is what I'm doing, yes, some people will disagree with it. You probably won't hear from most of them. You might hear from a couple. But what's also going to happen is there will be people that will surprise you with their love and their support and their unwavering just, yes, we're here for you. Yes, we believe in you. And the amount of people that will actually turn around and give you a pat on the back and be like, good for you. I'm so proud of you. Look at how much courage you have. I wish I could have that courage. Let people surprise you. I've had a lot of people surprise me in the past year. My husband has really stepped up in a way that I did not expect him to be this supportive of what I'm doing. He's someone who's very fiscally responsible and conservative with money. And so for me to leave my job and then pursue starting a nonprofit and then pursue, starting this business through TikTok based on spirituality, like he just freaking showed up for me in a way that I was not expecting. And my family has loved and supported me and lifted me up through all of this. And I'm getting ready to, tell friends this as well. And I know that some people aren't going to agree with it. I'm probably not going to hear from those people, but who I am going to hear from are people that are like, wow, good for you. I'm excited for you. And so if you allow people to surprise you, some you will be right about. They will not support you, and that's okay. You don't owe them anything. It's okay to be the villain in their story. But other people, will show up for you. And they can't show up for you if you don't allow them to do that. And then the last really big lesson that I feel like I've learned in this past year that I saved for the end. Honestly, I hate this lesson. I hate it. I wish it didn't exist, but it is what it is. And it is clarity comes with time. And I hate this so much. I am the type of person that I'm like, if you could just show me my life a year from now. Just show me how it works out. Just show me when I'm going to get to my destination. Show me what it looks like. I'll be fine. I can rest easy. I can relax. I can go through the steps. I can know that this is waiting for me, but like just show me what I'm meant to do and what it looks like and when I'm going to get there. But there's a reason that we don't have crystal balls, which is kind of funny from a psychic comedian saying that, but if I had seen a year ago that this is what I would have been doing, there's a good chance I wouldn't have even started. I would have been too terrified. I would have been too shocked. And we go through the processes that we go through when we go through them for a reason. I hate divine timing. I hate it with a passion. I am very upfront about it. I know that it's something that we need, but I hate it. But the truth of the matter is, we only know what we need to know at the exact moment that we need to know it. And if we don't know it, it's not time for us to know it yet. And what's funny is, especially in the past 6 months, I've been searching for answers and searching for answers, only to find out that my spirit team gave me the answer like 6 months ago. I just didn't like what they had to say. And that's a whole other topic, but it is kind of funny that like for so long I was sitting here just being like, show me the way, just tell me what direction to go in, I'll do whatever. When they showed me the way and I said no, I shut the door. I was like, thank you, but actually I'll take a different option. I'll just keep waiting. That's not the one that I wanted. And so there was so much that I had to go through before I could be ready for that, and before it could come back around to me, and before they could actually hear me say, I will do anything, and they knew it was true. And that's when my mediumship abilities came back online. And there are these issues, these problems that we're trying to solve that we just push and push and push. And it's like a pressure cooker, and we're not allowing it to just unfold naturally. And one of the biggest techniques that I found that has really helped me is just putting something on a shelf and allowing it to unfold naturally while I focus my attention elsewhere, which is so hard to do. I'm such an impulsive person. I love just getting an idea and doing it and bulldozing forward and saying, yes, I will move this brick wall, even though the universe is saying, no, you won't. I'm like very determined that I will move the brick wall. But what happens when I say, okay, I'm going to put this on the shelf, I'm not going to think about it, I'm going to go focus my energy elsewhere, my subconscious starts to do the work of unwinding the issue, of solving the issue for me, of allowing it to unfold in a way that I wasn't expecting, that I couldn't see before. And it wouldn't have done that if I had just been watching it and pushing it. And the next thing you know, there's like a door in the wall that I didn't see because it was covered in brick, but now I can see it. And now I can open it and just walk through it instead of trying to push this wall. But I wouldn't have seen it if I hadn't put it on the shelf to begin with. And I think that's something that I want to cultivate more of in my life when I'm not sure about something, when I'm feeling frustrated, instead of trying to keep pushing to just put it on the shelf and know that I will have clarity. At some point, I will have clarity. Things will come to a head at some point, and I will know what to do at that point. And if I don't know what to do now, it means that I'm not ready to know what to do, and that's okay. If you are on TikTok and you see other, spiritual creators, the term surrender to the process is probably so common to you, and it's probably an annoying term. I don't like it either. I'm being very forthcoming that even though this is true, even though this has helped me, I wish it didn't exist. Because I am the type of person, again, that likes to do things my way and bulldoze, but that's not what we're here to do. We are here to surrender to the process and allow the universe to unfold the path in front of us, because the destination, the plan that it has for where we're going is so much brighter than anything we could have imagined. It's so much more real and authentic to who we are, that if we just said, no, I'm not going to surrender to the process, I'm building my own path, we end up in a destination that's not our dream. We end up working for a company that has nothing to do with what we want to do. We end up staying in a relationship that isn't fulfilling us, fill in the blank. We end up doing something that isn't aligned with who we are. But when we stop putting so much pressure on ourselves, when we stop trying to shove things into a certain box and we just allow it to be, and we just have faith and we just surrender to the process, we end up getting somewhere so much more beautiful than we ever could have imagined. And I'm always going to be the type of person that says, yeah, but if you could just show me what that future is, just so that I know, just so I can chill, that would be great. And the universe is never going to give that to me. That's just life. That's just having faith. That's just walking this path as a human. That's just saying, I don't know where this path leads, but I feel called to go down it. So I'm going to have the courage to look fear in the face and say, I just don't care. So those are my 3 big takeaways from this year that I feel like have really, really helped me get to the place that I am right now. Life is too short to live someone else's dream. You don't owe anyone anything, and clarity comes with time. And hopefully these have helped you. I would encourage you as well to look back at your past zodiac year. So it's March 20th of 2023. Obviously, we're not quite there yet this year, but you can get a sense of what's happened to you in the past year and really take a look at what have your biggest takeaways been. Can some of these takeaways, fit into that? Do you want to take these moving forward into this next zodiac year? And it also may help you if you've had a rough start to 2024 to realize that, okay, maybe you're just closing out the zodiac year and getting ready to start a new zodiac year. I can't thank my podcast listeners enough. Of all of the collectives, followers, supporters that I have, the people that listen to my podcast mean so much to me, because anyone can watch a video on TikTok for 3 minutes. It takes a different type of person who is invested in what I have to say and values what I have to say to sit and listen to me for 30 to 40 minutes. And a lot of insecurities come through in who would want to listen to me for this long. Is what I'm saying valuable? And honestly, having a podcast is kind of weird. It does feel like just talking into a void, and you can see how many people have listened to it, but you're not actually getting any feedback. I see the reviews, I read the reviews. So thank you to everyone who has done that. If you haven't done that, maybe just go give a little rate, review, subscribe, maybe either on Spotify or Apple. But truly, for the most part, I don't receive feedback on how this is going. And I did get an email yesterday just letting me know how big of a difference I've made in someone's lives. And it was specifically after listening to my latest podcast episode that they felt the need to send me this. That just meant everything to me, because of all of the mediums that I put out there, this is the one that is the realest. This is the one that is truthful to who I am, where I am just saying whatever. And it means a lot to me, the people that support and listen to this. And I'm really excited for where this is going. I'm invested in continuing to improve this show and continuing to refine the content that I'm putting out on this podcast. I will put my email in the show notes moving forward. So if you do want to send me an email, if you have an idea, if there's a topic that you want me to talk about, if you have a question, if you just want to give me some words of encouragement and let me know what the podcast has meant to you, I really, really love connecting with you guys. Truly, your support means the world to me, and I just can't thank you enough for going on this journey with me. So I'm excited for what's to come, and thank you so much for being here. Until next time, keep going. You're doing amazing, and I love you.